Okay.
There we go. Now you can go. Now you can go.
Okay. Hello and everyone. So we are here for this Monday, a new start of the week, a new journey for exploration, for getting deeper into the story. And yesterday's session was like, wow, okay. And we are going into more details, and Syl is going to share more implications. This is very interesting about that we are reading a story, and what we are actually paying attention to implications, not the incidents, not the events happening in the story, but the implications. Every event, every perspective, every incident, every character, everything about is implication. The whole importance, the whole focus is on implication. Observing, extracting value from implications. This is very interesting. A new experience, of course, a bit unusual than our usual practice of reading stories. Mostly, my memory or the first immediate thought of this story is that story is to put you on sleep. But this story is
Put you to
actually
sleep? Or do you mean on
yes,
sleep?
like the bedtime stories.
Oh,
And
put you to sleep.
without,
To sleep.
yes, and this story is actually to make you awake. So it's a kind of a very different story.
Interesting. Well, when you
Yes.
say that about a story, you better qualify, because that makes it sound like it's a very boring story. If you're saying the story puts
Boring
you to
story?
sleep.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
mostly stories are like that. They give you more. They make you more relaxed, and then of course they
Ah,
give you more to
right. Well,
think about.
I'm just saying,
To get
you need
into
to,
your creative mindset and
yeah,
about
yeah.
imagination and all these things.
Right.
This
You
story
just
is
need to
about
elaborate.
it's not imagination. It is about
Yeah.
implication. So this is very interesting part of this. Yesterday's topic was very sensitive for
Mm.
so of course for all of us, because this is how all the major um, how to say that major part of our life, like religion,
Oh,
like our
yeah.
culture, like our families, like our relationship, like every institution, even the nature was in discussion that, okay, is nature really, or natural things are good or impeccable? If they are natural, okay, it doesn't mean that. So that was the whole very complex discussion yesterday. And I'm really keen to looking forward about this explanation of hierarchy and superiority paradigm, because personally
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
that the more emphasis, the more focus we put on into this thing, the more we actually get trapped into this thing, this paradigm
Oh,
of superiority.
oh,
Because even if it is existing, of course it is there, but the way I'm perceiving it is more important than actually the thing is how I'm perceiving it, because all my actions, my responses, my reactions are going to be determined by how I'm perceiving this superiority paradigm. If it doesn't exist for me, I'm not going to take it as, like, even if someone is coming from the superiority paradigm, I will not take it. I will just focus on my whole thing on
exactly.
value and
Exactly.
sharing, and okay, I will move on.
Exactly.
This is not going to,
Ex-
I'm not saying that, okay, it
It's
is
a
going to work in
sophisticated
every
way of
situation.
dealing with it, but one has to be careful though, because one
Yes.
can do what you're saying, right? Just not pay attention to it, like the elephant that doesn't pay attention to the lion's superiority things. It's not is right. However, you need to be perceived as an elephant to be left alone. When the mouse tries to
Exactly.
stroll past the
Exactly.
lion, that not doesn't
Exactly.
help, right?
Yes.
So we have to
Um,
have psychological elephantness, emotional elephantness. In other words, I'm solid in what I am. What you are doesn't touch me, doesn't
or
affect
I'm
me.
just different,
It
sir.
bounces off.
As you always
Precisely
say,
in that
I'm just
difference.
different. Because
Precisely.
birds are not scared of lions. No, they're
Exactly.
not.
Or fish.
Butterflies are not. Other tiny animals are not.
Exactly.
They hang out really well
Right.
with lions, so they don't get scared or afraid of. So it is
Right.
about being completely different, completely out of their zone.
Exactly. Their
So this is the
paradigm.
thing which
That's
is
why it's useful to understand the paradigm so that you know where the
yes.
boundaries are, so that you can be outside of it. It's very important.
Yes, one of my friend was he was trying to get into army and military. So he says that the few lessons I got from that, okay, you have to always keep whenever you are in a situation where someone is confronting or an argument or something like that, not so pleasant communication or interaction. So always check their voice, their tone, their pitch, and
Exactly.
always go different to that. Either just go really high or really low.
Yeah.
These, if you will just get involved into the same thing, then you are going to be in trouble because it is going to ignite the argument. So always
Wow.
go really high
Wow.
or really low. Then this is something when you were mentioning that it could
Interesting.
be different, and I realized that okay, this is exactly what it is. Yes,
Mm.
they're in the jungle, in the forest, lions are okay. Yeah, they are the king, but who really afraid of lions? Someone and all the animals who are in the same zone, they are afraid of. Like elephant, you give that example. Elephants are not afraid of lions because they are
Wow.
in a completely different zone. Birds are
Yep.
also not
Yep.
afraid of because they are in a completely different zone.
Yeah.
And so other tiny, of course, thing. So it's about being completely out of their superiority paradigm. And that's why it is very crucial to understand
Exactly.
what the superiority paradigm is, not to
Exactly.
focus on, not to emphasize on, but just to be aware of
Yeah,
what
exactly.
actually
To be aware
is.
of it. Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, this is a very powerful point. So it's all about awareness and being different. And not only do you need to be aware what the superiority paradigm is, but you need to know what elephant or mosquito paradigm is, or scorpion paradigm, or whatever paradigm it is that you're going to utilize, which makes you not a threat or competition or an issue to the lion, right? Something to be ignored. And like trees, lions don't bother with the trees.
yes,
You see? Or like you say, they don't bother with the rhinos or any other things either, even though
exactly.
those are potentially prey. Sometimes they try it, but when they clearly understand that this is a waste of time, that's when things get a little bit simpler and easier. Yeah, it's very important. But I'm saying that we need to understand the old paradigm and the replacement one as well. Yes,
Yes,
both.
yes,
Both.
yes,
This
yes,
is this
yes.
is very, very important. Very, very
Okay,
important.
so let me go on Facebook and see, and then, okay, we'll start reading. We'll pull up slides, of course, not reading, but yes.
Oh, somebody looked at the first minute and they loved the poem. The start poem of that, the chapter that we're going to go to over again now. So fascinating. All right. Very wonderful. Very wonderful. Let me just send them this link here, and then we're good to go. Almost there. Almost there. And Sher's here. Sher's here. What does Sher say, Beena? Oh no, that was yesterday's one. Never mind. Go over. No,
Yes.
it's the right one. Is Sher here?
No comments yet, but okay, I'm just going to make a comment. So, hello and
I clicking on the go over, and oh, I see in the edited, put it there. All right. Ah, sigh.
so
I'm
someone
getting there.
is you and Mohammed Dean. Click like on this post. Right now,
Oh,
and
hello,
I
Mohammed. Hello, Mohammed. Brilliant. Brilliant. I'd say salam, but I don't care to assume. You never know. Go over of chapter
see any
5, part
comment yet.
1. Yes. Well, still, if they click like, then I'm assuming they're listening. And I hope you are. Please, if you are there, Mohammed, just say hi or put a smiley face or something to know you there. It really helps us and it makes us feel connected. And we like that. It's a big deal for us. We really appreciate it when those who are listening say hello. Hello, hello, Beena. I'll say hello to Beena now.
Yes. Okay, let's continue.
Right. I'm going to start the share in a moment. I was in the email and I had to send them the link. That's what I
You
came to do.
already shared, I guess.
No, I haven't shared screen yet. Somebody
Oh,
emailed me and said they started to watch, but they only got to watch like a minute, literally. Which is amazing that they have so little time to watch a minute. But then again, look how today was. Today we had very little time. So, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. Very good indeed. Very good. Very good. Very good. And I'll get this sorted in a second here. This chapter for me is or this half of the chapter, this part,
yes.
Ursula's explanation. By the way, it's not all of it.
Oh,
Yeah, there's more coming later. Yeah, it takes a little while to get there, but just so you know, just a little teaser for those who are paying attention. It is more coming. There's absolutely more coming. Yeah. Who's here? Lisa. Brilliant. Lisa, I'm thrilled you're here. And I feel so bad I haven't been able to get to your beautiful long comment. It's been such a crazy day, 2 days, just been really busy and stuff been happening. And like now we were late. We were late this morning just again because, well, I was shipping stuff. So, I
yes.
mean, it's good reasons that I'm late. But, well, I spent half the morning reorganizing and rearranging and making space to try and get my air conditioner connected in, and I couldn't find the cord because there's too much stuff on top of it. So just to give you an example of stuff that's happening. So I'm thrilled you're here, Lisa. I'm thrilled you're here because I am keen to go through this. Now, if you'd like to come on Zoom and read, that would be even better. Now, all right,
Yes,
Lisa,
it is
I
not
appreciate that.
necessary, but it is good. Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
desirable. I know it's not necessary, but it's desirable. It's desirable. Uh, all right, and I need to screen share. And now we just listed some things. And so if you see these pop-up things come, people say, oh, can I call you? Is it available? Can I call you? No, they're just scammers. You can't call me. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
will take care of it.
Yes. Oh, they were reading the start of the chapter because they read the poem, not these quotes from Ursula. Would you read them, please, Beena? Can you read? Is it big enough?
Let me.
Yeah, I'd love Lisa to come and read. That would be fantastic.
Right.
Well, not that I better be careful. Yeah, I mean, not that I don't enjoy your reading. Your reading is fantastic too. Just don't want to get myself in trouble here, right? My
No, I
implication.
don't feel. I don't
I,
feel these
I,
type of
I,
things like.
I know.
No,
I know.
no.
That's not the logic here, and you'll see this in the
Yes.
story too. That it's like in the superiority paradigm. What you mean by implication? Yeah, I don't read nicely. We don't have that in this paradigm that we are. There's no comparison here. We don't care. I love Lisa reading. I love you reading. Who's better, who's worse? It's not important. It totally isn't important. I love them both. It's like, to say which of your children you love them more. You know, you can't. You don't. Or your dogs. Well, all right. Maybe people have favorite dogs, but still, You know, I can't think favorites in stuff like this. I enjoy it no matter what. It doesn't matter. So go Beena, Beena, says Lisa. I just love it when you come, Lisa. It's a real treat. It's a real treat. I know you're busy and you're doing stuff as well and working. So, but still, it's a real treat when you do come. So just so you know, I look forward to it, and I hope it's every now and then at least. You know, once a week, I'd say to come on Zoom, Lisa. I'm hoping. All right, when you're ready, Beena, when you're ready. In the meantime, I shall set the battle a coiling. It's very necessary right now. Therapeutic, important matters of consequence. Go ahead, Beena. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Becoming a different you brings on the next level.
Hmm.
Wow.
Wow,
Becoming
what
a
does that mean
different
for you?
sorry.
What does that mean for you?
Yeah, this is again what we were saying, that okay, it's not about being
Yeah,
lower or higher, it is just about being
yeah,
different. To
yes,
get out of
yes,
the superiority paradigm, just be
yes.
different. This is what it is. So that,
And
that is
also,
very, yes.
Ursula is still coming from a world of superiority paradigm, right? I mean, she was very entrenched and immersed in that, right? I mean, she's expert at playing the game of the superiority paradigm. So she knows it intimately, yes?
Hmm.
I always have to understand that, right? I mean,
Yes.
and be aware of it, that she's got extreme expertise. Well, so does Biella, by the way. Biella also knows this game very well. The whole superiority paradigm. You know, it's not that she didn't grow up on Nobelia. None of them did. So likely all of them have some understanding of it because they all grew up. But now some may have grown up a bit more sheltered than others, and so they have less awareness of it, as it is in this world of ours, right? I mean, I know many people who are quite blissfully ignorant of the superiority paradigm. Sometimes it's bliss, but then also I know where they get involved with BMNs, and it's a miserable experience. And the BMNs target them precisely because they are so ignorant. Right? You know,
Hmm.
oh yeah, oh yeah. So it's an issue. It's an issue. All right. But now I wanted to make the comment. Oh, that's a great idea. The comment that Ursula is still saying level. Yeah. Likely the new nobility would not use this term. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because level implies that it's better. All right, it is, but eh, it's technically so, and there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing particularly wrong with thinking so. But since they in the habit of not making these distinctions, to say I'm doing it because it's better, I'm doing it because it's useful, it's valuable. I'm doing it because I want to, because I like doing it. Yes, I enjoy doing it. So better is something that's not, it's not in the forefront. Yes, if you're going to go and say, let's do a deep discernment on this, if it's more valuable and more useful to you, then doesn't that make it better? Yes, it does. Right. But they just make that effort to avoid this because they know how easy it is for the superiority paradigm to creep its way into the brain. Yes. We have a DNA legacy that it's there, right? It creeps in, it creeps in, it creeps in. So we have to be very, very careful and very, very cautious, right? Make
Yes.
sense?
Yes. Uh, I just want to ask you something here, because
I'm listening, Beena.
my mind jumps to when you were mentioning about level,
Mm.
that okay, it's a superiority paradigm vocabulary part of that.
Not, it is, but in this case, not necessarily, but maybe a little. So we
No,
just
I'm
want
just
to be
saying
sure.
that okay, it is in general, not
Mm.
in this case, but okay, maybe in
Yeah,
general, this is how
exactly,
it is.
exactly,
But
exactly.
when they say that, I try to look at it again as someone okay coming, like it's a new thing. But for me,
Yeah,
the next level. So my mind jumps to the next, like okay, it means that okay, something is finishing up, so we
yeah,
are moving
yeah,
forward. If we just start looking at everything as in this case, like okay, moving forward is also superiority, like someone is ahead of us is superiority, someone is above us, is
Exactly.
superiority. It's not
Exactly.
about all these things. It's about intent.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's about the intent and the underlying mindset that you have. But language is a portal, is a gateway, is a
Of
connecting
course.
to awareness. So
Yeah.
to be exquisite with our language is important. It may seem like I'm splitting hairs, but you split a million hairs and sprinkle them about your apartment and see what you have.
Huh?
Split one hair and
Yeah.
what do you have? You got half a hair. It's not a lot.
Yes.
Put it in your food and then see.
Oh, yes. Okay. It's about the
See,
context.
right, exactly. When I'm saying lots of split hairs, it's like dust. One little dust, mote of dust. I think that's the unit for dust, by the way, is mote, M-O-T-E, just as a technical term. I believe so. Anyway, one grain of dust, maybe one mote of
Yes.
dust. It's not a big deal in your apartment, but lots of them, and suddenly got to do dusting, right? So
Oh,
when we
yes.
look at this from an exquisite point of view, yes, I'm splitting hairs about this level, this word level, but over time, the accumulative effect is a lot, or the cumulative effect is a lot. Becoming a different you shifts our way of being, says wonderful Lisa. And look who else has joined us. Look who else has joined us. My house, says no, says Lisa. Yes, go dust, Lisa, go dust. Well, she's got dogs. She got 4 dogs, so there's air. I assume,
Okay. Yes.
yeah. And look who's waving at
But,
us with
but
a great big
by the way,
grin.
Lisa,
Okay, so now
it
you got to
doesn't
do
matter.
this. You got to
Oh,
do
yes.
this.
Okay. Yes. But by the way, Lisa, it doesn't matter that you have
I'm
4
getting it.
dogs or if you have four women in the house.
Yeah,
Same thing. We
yeah,
all shed here like
yeah,
that. So okay, I get, oh,
exactly.
okay.
Or
Especially
you
women with
you
dogs.
got 4 souls in the house too.
Yes. Yes. So it doesn't matter, but okay. Okay, coming back to this thing. Mostly, okay, why I am not actually getting into the to like
Hang on, I want to say hello
it,
to Sher. That was the point of my wave and grin. Trying to
yes.
do the see, Sin said I'm trying to get that grin right, but oh.
Okay, because what we how we respond or especially react
Hello, Sher.
to
Hello, Sher.
any new situation, perspective, perception, scenario, or whatever. We do that because of the memory of our experience, not experience itself, but the memory of those experience.
Mm.
We react according to those memories of our experiences.
You made a very
So
important distinction.
yes,
We react according to the memory of the experience, not
yes,
the experience
yes,
itself.
no,
Hmm.
not the experience itself.
Amazing,
This
isn't it?
is something. This is something I have been thinking, and of course, I have learned after very long because we assume that we are responding or reacting according to our memories or experiences. Sorry, but actually
Oh.
not. These are just the memories of those experiences, and they can be bit fiddly. They can be different to
Mm.
what the experience, real, true, actual experience was,
Exactly.
because we get influenced by so many other things, especially the person in those situation. uh, it is very unlikely for
Right.
anyone who is in any traumatic situation to get the complete picture, to get a different
Right.
perspective, to actually like measure or gauge the intensity or the actuality of those situation. Just for example, there is a term in astrology where they call it like, okay, if you don't know the actual time of your birth, so there is a process of gratification. That's like, okay, yes, so this is what you do, just to get the real time of it. So there are some techniques into involving that. But the most important thing in every rectification, sorry, not rectification, rectification of the
Mm.
chart, the first thing is that 99% what your mother is telling you the time, it must be earlier than that in 99%
Oh,
cases.
wow.
Okay, and why they say that? Because if your mother is telling you that, okay, it was 10 in the morning,
that might be 8, because she was at that time, she was in the trauma, in the traumatic pain
Time
and all those.
dilation. Yeah.
Yes, so for her, the time really stretched. So she mostly, they say that, okay, in 99% cases, the time is given by mother is always later than the actual time. Because
Exactly.
for them, the time really stretched because they were in pain. And it is not about that, okay, for anyone. I'm just saying that, okay, when we are in any stressful situation, especially, even in happiness also, whatever, if whenever we are
Yes,
emotionally
sure.
charged in sorry.
I'm saying yes to sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Whenever we are in any heightened emotional state, it is very unlikely for us to get the real actual data,
Yeah.
the collection of data.
Yeah.
It always get influenced by some other factors. So that's why I'm saying that, okay, that we have the memory of those experiences, not the actual experiences. And on
Right.
base of those memories, mostly we react and respond. And we perceive things also.
Look what Sher says.
Okay, yes. That's why association management fits so well for me, works in trauma
It's profound.
recovery. Yes,
It's profound when we realize we don't actually experience the experience, we're experiencing the memory of the experience. And over time, those get changed. Now, when you combine the understanding of association management, your brain has to associate, has to tag things in order to store it. Right? And if you've got this tag,
yes,
this painful trauma, and in your brain, when it says painful trauma and your brain says should, oh, there's the subtle association that when you have something that is labeled as trauma and painful as an experience past, the memory of it is labeled as that. The should that goes with that, an extra tag, it says, I should be stressed, bothered, upset, put out, discombobulated, whatever. So it's a combination of the original tagging, which says this was traumatic and painful, and then the subsequent should that says when you remember it, you have to be again go into trauma. Yeah. So it's a double association there. Now, when we take this and we combine it even more sophisticatedly with an understanding of emphasis, we start to see how this loop starts building onto itself, and it just gets worse and worse. Because every time you experience this, now you say, I should feel all stressed and painful. And then you do, and then you start remembering that. And now your brain every time does this, and the brain starts to say, oh, this stuff must be important. And it rewires it to be very sensitive to the stuff. And now you, of course, when you get to triggered and all this, right? And now you get this extreme reaction to what originally was just a memory. Yeah. Now, this can take on severe consequences because let's say, for instance, it's a degree of how much you relive the experience, and this is an important distinction, right? To relive or to remember, because if your brain is going back into it and you're reliving it like you're in a dream, then yes, then you can very much feel the real physical pain, as opposed to just feeling emotional trauma because it was stressful, it was traumatic, it shouldn't have happened, it was unfair, whatever, right? That's usually what causes the trauma rather than the physical part of it. However, we have to understand this in this context, not however, but when we understand the context of emphasis, we see how this stuff can loop around and build and rewire the brain. And it's very important to understand. But mostly, when we experience something unpleasant, like, okay, you broke a bone. I remember it was painful, but I remember it was painful. I'm not feeling that pain now. I broke my foot, slipped off the edge of the bottom stair, was rushing to answer the phone, and all my full weight was on it, and it tore something and broke and snapped a little bone and whatever. Anyway, so it was ridiculously painful, right? But the pain went. I don't feel that pain now. I can only remember that I was in pain as a factual thing, like in the same way as I remember a character in a story was in pain. There's no physical feeling associated to it. that doesn't mean that for some people, they don't actually feel some physical pain when they get into the relive state, right? So this is a very important distinction, but still it's all about the emphasis of how we emphasize the memory, and that goes along with that emphasis and that tagging. Very powerful. Yeah, association management, to understand it and to understand emphasis, those two together are transformative, not just for trauma recovery, but in everything. It's very, very powerful mechanisms. Very powerful. Very cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. All right, next one.
Okay. So sometimes we arrive somewhere only to find it's a start. I know this quote before, but every single time.
What's
Yes.
Biella's response to this?
Every single time when I read this, I personally
Right.
feel okay. I
But
share about Biella, but about me.
if we're in that, if let's say this is something that Ursula is saying right there in the conversation that they're talking, right? You know, while they're on their way to the admin office now, right? And they're just kind of relaxing a bit. And she's you know, she just brings us out as a sort of a quote. And Biella's like to say, sometimes, pretty much every time.
See, I cannot even imagine how Biella would respond to that. So for me, it's every single time I get a bit pause, like okay,
Right.
oh,
But
so yes,
it's I mean, sometimes is a very diplomatic way of saying it. And it's to
yes,
avoid the absolute, because if you say always and every time, then you get into absolute statements. But it sometimes is occasional, whereas, you know, I do feel that after a while, she'll say, usually when we arrive somewhere, we find it's a start. Yeah.
yes.
For me, it pretty much always is.
Exactly. This is when you say that, and I realize that yes, it is almost always
Yeah.
that when we arrive somewhere, but because like okay, so this is something I want to achieve. Okay, just be in a materialistic world, not materialistic, in a material world, in a sense world. So the world which depends on senses. Anyway, so when we are into this and we want to achieve something, once we achieve that, is there that the final point that okay, yes, now nothing else, never. After some times we always have new desires, new wishes,
Right.
nothing. It's a starting point. And also that our taste get more refined after that. Okay, once I was looking for something which was really remarkable, amazing for me, but when I achieve that, when I just get used to that, my tastes, my choices get more refined, and I look for more refined things in my life.
Yeah.
More refined version of the same thing.
Yeah.
So even from the material world to the spiritual world, everything is actually this quote applies in everything, in every world, in every paradigm.
Yeah. By the way, paradigm difference. Yeah. Oh, it looks like a little heart there, doesn't it? I got a heart, Beanie. Anyway, fruit. Fruit is paradigm. It's a different paradigm.
Yes, yes.
Because we could say fruit is a contract. It is a contract between me and the plant to say, I'm going to take this and yes, I'm going to enjoy and get value. And in return, I'm going to spread your seeds for you. Yeah. I mean, yes, if the thing drops, it grows there and the fruit helps it's like fertilizer, but you don't have to make tasty fertilizer. And if they all drop underneath the tree, there's too many trees to compete with the mother tree. And, you know, I mean, how many cherries, if they all grew underneath the tree, the original tree is going to have too much competition. So it's relying on you to take it elsewhere. Yeah. It's a contract. It's a contract. So fruit is very different in nature. It's a collaboration, is it not? Different paradigm.
Yes, one of the scholars here in Pakistan, in some motivational speech, he was saying that just travel outside the city and drive on highway and go a bit further, as much as you want to or as much as you can, and you will see that there are like
No.
weeds everywhere. Everywhere you will see weeds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you will
Yeah.
not see roses there.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
he particularly used the analogy of or example of roses. He says it is
Yeah.
same exactly like that. That you have to cultivate, you have to nurture your positive mindset.
Yeah.
Negative
Yeah.
things, unnecessary, and not impeccable thoughts are going to come automatically.
Yeah.
But the positive things, you have to nurture it. The positive
Exactly.
mindset, you have to
Exactly.
nurture this.
Exactly.
Because you will not see roses or fruits or other beautiful flowers out there on like nowhere. So you
Yeah.
will not see that. Weeds will grow everywhere.
I love weeds. I love weeds. I feel like a weed a lot of the time, I guess. So I resonate with them. Weeds are my people. What can I tell you? Right? There's a nice quote for you for a t-shirt. Weeds are my people. Yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
talking about fruit and natural things. For all those people who say, eat natural, eat natural. Well, I went out into nature and I looked for all the things that was in natural grocers. I didn't find any of them. I didn't find any of them out in nature. All those things in natural grocers. Didn't find any. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. I find it very amusing. Now, Lisa will tell you, Beena, by the way, that she can go
Yes.
out into nature and find things to eat. Right, Lisa?
Right?
I don't know, mangoes, I think you said one day that you found, right? That grow wild there by you, Lisa. I don't know. It was a whole list of things. I don't know. Oh, weird name stuff too. The rest of the stuff, I don't think it's anything that I'd eat, so I didn't remember it. But I think that Lisa, because she's in a jungle environment, does have stuff that she can actually go and pick and use and cook and eat.
Wow.
But certainly, it depends on the jungle does have stuff that you can do this from. But other than that, it's very hard to find the stuff that you find in natural grocers out in nature, other than in the jungle. And then, well, I don't think you've ever found any carrots or lettuce out there by you, right? Or cabbage, yes, or broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, all that horrible stuff. Yeah. Well, I don't know. For me, it's like, man, if you want to torture me, that's it. You just make me eat that stuff. I'll tell you everything you want to know before I even, you just can threaten me with it. Just bring me my tray with that food on. I'll tell you, I'll tell you, I'll tell you. Thank you. I don't need to even eat this. I'll be very easily tortured. No problem. But still, though, I find it very amusing, though, that none of that is, we don't see this because, yes, you do, but the versions and the variations you find in nature are not as luscious and they don't have the moreness that the ones that you buy that are cultivated. Yeah. I mean, you see wild roses, but they're not the same as the cultivated varieties. So it's just interesting that we nature, in other words, left to its own devices, it does okay. And all of these things originally come from nature. Somewhere in the world, there are wild carrots that grow, but we've improved on them. And I feel this is very important because I hear this and see this on the internet a lot, that, to be natural. If you're going to be natural, well, that will excuse a lot of behavior that otherwise is not natural. I mean, to be civilized, is that natural? No, it's not. It's the very definition of not natural. Yes. So natural isn't necessarily sensible. It can be, but not necessarily. So I think when we say be natural, be sensible is what we mean, and don't be artificial is also what we mean. Yes, I feel both of those are very important and useful distinctions. Yes.
So
For
are we talking about the natural as without evolution? Yes? Like evolution is
no,
not
not
part of evolution.
necessarily. Exactly. Natural is evolution too. Correct. It's just that what we find in nature, at least when it comes to food, is sort of a little slow on the evolution. Whereas when you actually go to farming, we've greatly enhanced that the natural evolution, right? So the carrots you find in nature, or berries, that's the thing. Most people are familiar with berries, even in woodland, forest. Most places in the world, you find a berry of some kind that's edible, right? So most
Because
people have eaten berries from the wild. Uh,
because this is very interesting because I personally feel that it's a part of the process of growing and of course evolution that humans also they learned that the hygiene okay and the cook food
right, right.
and some other stuff okay like
Well,
clothing.
we optimize. We learn to
Yes.
optimize.
And building homes like okay was it natural before?
Exactly. Exactly.
So no, but we because we are uh, we like as human species, we like improving things and
Right.
trying,
Right.
creating
Right.
things also. So that is part of
Right.
all these things,
Right.
our food
Right.
choices and choices in general,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
The Sher's comment there, like the outhouse analogy. I had fun with this to say, I have this sort of I have these little skits, little scenes that I have in my mind that fit into something somewhere, right? But just a little fun scene. I don't know, maybe in a comedy show or something, you can make it. So the scene is that you have it's a dinner party, and well, it's the guests are invited. They're staying overnight, and you're having dinner, and everybody's happy, and they're chatting, and everything's going fine and wonderful. And the conversation is about this, about nature, and also about going back to the good old days. And it was so wonderful back then, and it was so glorious in those times, and so romantic and all this wonderful, right? And you had wood burning stoves and all the stuff, and right, and they're all into this. And everybody's, yes, it's all wonderful. And the host is part of this. It is very wonderful. And they say, oh, thank you for the dinner, and we just where's the bathroom before we retire? Oh, it's at the bottom of the garden. It's very cold outside too, by the way. Now, of course, the host has an ensuite thing upstairs, but for the guests, no, sorry, you get the natural bathroom at the bottom of the garden. Oh, now suddenly the good old days are natural and all that stuff. And never mind an outhouse, you got to dig your own hole there and you bury it afterwards. Just be careful that you don't dig up yesterday's, all right? Yeah, we have to be careful. I'm making a point about contextual perception. Yes, it's very, very powerful. It's very powerful. I don't know why it's stuck in my mind, but Sir's comment brought it back up this now. Character is our underpinning, says Ursula. Character is what remains when all else goes fubar. Yes. Yeah. So character is key. Key to understand the difference in character and personality. Because now we are seeing Ursula's character come out, not her personality. The personality that gets her to play that game on her world, the game of personal power politics and all that. That's her personality. She said her ambition, she figured it out. I mean, at the time, she wasn't consciously aware of it necessarily. But now, when she thought it through, she says, I was aspiring to achieve the highest form of success or accomplishment possible. In other words, to be my most, be my best, to connect to moreness, whatever moreness was. But sadly, I was woefully ignorant of what all moreness could encompass. On her world, she achieved all the moreness that was presented there. But that was it. Nobody had any imagination that there might be a moreness beyond the moreness that they have. This is a sad reality. Yes. Very sad reality. So it's the theme for me to pay attention to problems we do not yet realize are in fact problems. Ursula had a problem on her world. She was wealthy, successful, accomplished, top, whatever. She was the alpha there, right? She had the right of it, but she had a problem. Never knowing she had that problem. She had a massive problem. She was living a life that was going nowhere, really. Yes, she got everything she wanted, but it was still going nowhere. It was dead-ended. It wasn't inherently valuable. It was only relatively valuable, right? And then when more valuable comes along, you suddenly realize how actually valuable it is. If it has actual value, right? Like an artist, they're painting their paintings. And you show them some other artist's paintings that, oh, wow, and everybody loves it. And they say, whoa, doesn't matter. They go back to painting their paintings. I can't paint that paintings. Yes, on some, on a commercial scale, it may be better, more so, who cares? I enjoy painting my paintings. Or a singer, I enjoy singing my songs. I can't sing anything else. That's it. And I'm not going to make that effort either because I enjoy what I do, whether it has any other kind of value or evaluation, I don't care. I enjoy doing it, so I'll go back to what I'm doing, right? But there's no, the inherent activity didn't bring Ursula joy necessarily, right? Like the singing, it has inherent joy to it, yeah, or dancing. Very important distinction. Right? The path is the path. It's the destination, the beginning in every moment. I commented on that yesterday. So it's important to be aware of this in every moment, that it's the destination and the beginning, right? We are continually looping, in other words, right? That's why the now is so potent. And when we extend that now, so the now isn't just a blip in time and then there's another now. We can make this now quite long and large and have our now be connected. And eventually, if we do that to the extreme, time ceases. We start to live in it all. Very powerful, very powerful. Are you still here? Are you still here, Lisa? Oh, I didn't. I'm going to skip this for today because see, I've been so busy. I didn't get to finish writing out the story. It's a very cool story, though. And then 2 stories, a little aside, but it is this aside. And the point of a story is we have solutions that we don't realize we have. Like in this case of the fishing, right? Every single fisherman you've ever known has used line to fish with, at least within the last 100 years, right? Since line came about. And before that, I don't know, they probably used catgut or something, some form of line, right? So it's been around for a long time. And if it was catgut or other gut, well, anyway, that's what it used to be called, catgut. I don't know if it was made from cat's guts or not, but that's what it was called. So they know about this, right? And it's been around for a long time. So they all had this. They all had this ability to use the line differently, but they never thought to do it because they didn't think that fishing was a problem when it was. Yeah. And they never thought that they could resolve it with what they have on hand. It fascinates me. It absolutely fascinates me. This. It's a profound life lesson that here's something that's so obvious, so duh, that we missed. Why? I'm not looking to remember the how to fish that way. What I'm after is to say, how do I change my brain to have utilized that? In other words, to have invented this method of fishing from that. Yeah. To say, well, this sucks throwing the line out there with a bait and you wait and you catch nothing and you go home and you didn't catch anything. That's terrible. When I had the means at my disposal to pretty much guarantee catching something, assuming there were fish to be caught. That would be, But we know, I mean, I went fishing in the lake where we went sailing. There's fish in there. It's a great big lake. It's not like there's no fish there. But you'd catch sometime you catch some, other time it was really hit and miss, and some of those fishermen would sit there all day and didn't catch anything. Yeah, it's a problem. But they never thought of it as a problem. What's worse to me, there are many problems we realize are problems, but we don't have the means. We know we can do something, but we don't have the means. We all had the means at their disposal. Simple, easy. Simply required thinking differently. I want to build that, and I do really make an effort already. I try to build that into my mind as a habit to say, how can I look at the situation differently? How can I perspective shift? How can I rearrange the elements of my situation, my circumstance that I have on hand? How can I rearrange them to make them work more effectively? Yeah, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to get new materials necessarily. I don't like in the case of the fishing. I actually could take what was given to me, a fishing line and a hook and a sinker and a whatever, and I could use less of it, not even use it, more like, okay, you get a line and you make a fishing rod and you can fling it further. All right, big deal. Yeah. See, that's what I mean. I didn't even need to do that. I could use less and be more effective, much more effective, radically more effective. The difference between starving and not starving effective, life-changingly effective. Yes, literally, it could make the difference between starving or not starving. I have in my survival gear somewhere, I accumulated this. It was just a fun thing that I enjoy doing. Somewhere I've got fishing line, a roll of fishing line and little hooks. I know others of you probably have it also stashed away somewhere. Right, you got a little survival gear pack. Sure, do you have a little survival something somewhere? And Lisa, how about you? Right, and in it there's always fishing line and a couple of hooks, right? Maybe a sinker or two, but the sinkers you can always take a stone or whatever. It's not as effective, but it's easy. It's hard to bind fishing line around a stone to make it a sinker, but all right, I mean, you can still make do without it. We don't have to have a sinker or a floater, and that you can always use a piece of wood, All right, so but you got at least the basics. You got fishing line and hooks. Yeah, exactly. There's a line and hook in it. Now, let's assume that you get stranded somewhere. Yeah. Okay, your plane crashes or your car breaks down in the middle of who knows, and you literally have to fish. That's why you have that. Now that you know about this crow's nest fishing, you say, well, the little hooks, I'm going to crow's nest fish. But you may actually starve because of trying to fish with that hook and you don't have bait, and God knows it's, you don't make enough. How many people have died of starvation because they tried to fish that old way and they had the means at their disposal? This is the key for me. In the abstract, this is a profound story, because we have it and I've seen this many other times. I've had many anomalies which said that to me. You've got the thing, the solution is like under your nose. It's right here. Like literally in that case, right? You working with a fishing line, it's literally under your nose, correct?
Yes.
What else?
Yes.
What else is under my nose? And that is profoundly life-changing and life-altering. That fishing, I can guarantee you now, I can go and find many people in many communities who fish regularly, right? And they don't have access to nets, but they got a line and they're doing this. And yeah, they catch the fish, but it's a big pain. If you go there, it changed their whole lives. Maybe it doesn't spread because it's maybe going to wipe out the fish in the rivers, I don't know, or dams or whatever. Especially rivers, especially smaller streams, because you can kind of catch the whole stream here, throw it far enough to the other side. In a lake, maybe not, but still you may take out too much and kill off the fish. But all right, that's a different problem. Yeah. Now with this crow's nest fishing, sure, you got to get that video from Beena. As a matter of fact, Beena, can you find the link for that and post it in comments, please?
Okay, yes, let me find that.
Please. You won't see it at first, sure. It's just because what she was doing, it struck me as so peculiar. I couldn't figure out how she was doing, because I was paying attention, capital S, seeing, just observation, right? When she first started fishing, I said, what is she using for bait? It didn't seem like she was even baiting anything. And she was just she just took out her fishing stuff and threw it out there. Oh, that's kind of interesting, So it was anomalous to me right from the get-go, because I couldn't see that crow's nest from far. You don't see it, right? And you can't see it when she picks it up out of the water even. You can't see it. Only when they zoomed in close, because they were quite far watching her. They were like on top and she's at the bottom of the river, right? And only when they zoomed in close to show her removing the fish from it did you
Yes.
see how it actually worked, right? And it's like, holy moly. Yeah, yeah. Brain change, brain change, brain change. Again, see, I don't want to focus on the fishing part of it. It is the abstract that is important. To say, yeah, we have an example in the abstract of something that people have been doing forever. And yeah, Ma comes along, and she just tosses this crow's nest in and catches fish. And she was like, she did a couple of times, I think 2-3 times, and she pulled it out. She got 2 fish. She popped the fish alive, by the way, into a backpack and went off. Another thing that I noticed that was rather odd. Most fishermen will kill a fish straight away. She didn't. She left it alive. I don't know if that keeps it fresh longer. I mean, it's going to die of asphyxiation in air, which is the reverse for fish. They asphyxiate in air. We would asphyxiate in water. Well, we'll drown. We won't really asphyxiate, but nonetheless. Anyway, they will die eventually. But she didn't kill them right away, which is rather interesting. So, and off she went. 2 fish in her backpack, 2 only. And I said, that's a long way to come for 2 fish. Remember, Beena?
Yes.
Well, it's not that long. I mean, how long did she walk? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, but those 10 minutes would be like life walk of the life for us, because
Yeah,
it was
Right.
hiking. It was
So,
not
but I
just
mean, if you look at it in context, right? I mean, she may have
Yes.
said, okay, me and Avi are hungry. And all right, well, it's 10 minutes there, another or 15 minutes, another 15. It's an hour altogether, right? It's an hour
Yes.
to get lunch, right? No big deal.
Yes.
It's not a big deal when you think of it in context again. Seems like a big deal, but it's not a big deal.
For
Well,
them, it was not. Okay, it all started with that I saw that video
the
on
walk.
YouTube. My mother was
Wow,
walking,
wow.
and I was inspired by their ability to walk on those rocks.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah,
literally very
The way she
shiny,
walked was
smooth.
great. And
Yes,
what? Right? Can you play the video right now?
I'm doing it now. So just give
Okay.
me a
I mean,
minute.
then screen share when you play it. Then we might as well
Yes.
watch this. Lisa, are you still here? I hope Lisa's still here. Where's Norma? Where's Norma? I haven't seen Norma. I sent her the link. I sent her the link. Okay. While you do that, let me see where Norma is. Come, Norma. I want you to see this as well. Where are you, Norma? Where are you? Oops. I actually want to add the link to that to the end of
Okay.
this. Oh, play it and screen share, or screen share and play it. I hope Lisa's still here. I hope Lisa's still here.
Just shared the link there.
Where did you share the link?
In the chat, and also I'm going to play it here.
Oh, I'm not seeing it in
This-
chat. Not
It
yet.
will
hang
come.
on. Yeah. There we go. Brilliant.
Sharing screen.
Yeah, I'm going to add it at the end of the chapter.
Okay.
It really, actually, I want to add it. Yeah, I actually want to add it into Way-of-Impeccability.
Okay, so then you can remove this.
Remove what?
Remove the comment.
Oh, no. I want it for the live. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So yes, this woman walking. All right. So now as you watch her walking, did you skip forward? No, let her walk a bit, Beena. Let her walk a bit. Go back. We need to see the walk.
Yes,
Let's watch the whole video. Watch the whole video from
Okay.
the start.
Okay.
From the start.
Okay, from
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah.
So here we
Yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes. This is important. Yeah. Because we're looking at context. Right. So the whole video is So look, my estimation of time, I'm very happy to say, was accurate, because we saw half of it, which was the half an hour, and then she had to get back. So it's less than an hour, the total activity, right? Now maybe they
Without
cut out.
editing, I guess that.
Right,
Yes.
right. Look at the little house in the background there. So there's your outhouse, sure. You saw it there?
Yes.
Yeah, or it may not be. It may be a storage or whatever. Now look, there's river here, Beena. She doesn't fish here.
Yes, because I personally feel that they were looking for a place where definitely fish are going to be at this height, where they're
Yeah, yeah.
all scrambled
Well,
up. And it is going to be-
yeah, where this is, it looks a bit shallow. You see? If
so
you
there
look at
might be
the,
no fish
you
here.
see the rocks exactly in the shallow water. There's likely less fish. Correct. It looks very shallow there. That's why she's going elsewhere. Yeah, and it is shallow. You can see it's shallow actually. You know, by the color of the water and the way the rocks are coming through and all that. You see, when you got rocks in the middle of a river, that's very shallow usually. I mean, you can wade through this likely. You won't even get up to your knees. Oh, I forgot that she used the rope here, Beena.
Oh, it's a regular thing. So they do have some
Right,
arrangements.
right. But see what I meant by mountain goating it? It's
Yes.
quite amazing. Now, the video is playing a little slowly. Beena, I'm going to gonna start it on my side here and see if I
Okay,
can get it to
please.
play a bit quicker
Yes.
and see.
Yes,
And then if
please
it
do.
plays faster, then I'll screen share. But keep going in the meantime. Oh no, don't stop. Keep going. Yeah, I think mine is better. So all right, I'll do the screen share and we see. And I'll put the sound on as well. Not that it matters that
Yes.
much, but
Yes, please.
all right, here we go. But just look at this terrain as well. Yeah, just you can see these trees. They're making an effort to grow over here. Right now, watch how the river starts to change. You see, you've still got those ripples in the middle, still showing. Because she could go down here, right? But you see, it's still showing shallows, right?
Yes.
Now there will be fish here, but they may not be particularly edible fish or not as abundant. And it's also faster current. Also, at least I know from river fishing. They didn't, typically you found them in the pools on the sides, especially where there was deeper pools on the edges that eddied, because they didn't have to spend as much energy to stay in the same place, right? The eddies would sort of revolve around and eventually they would take you out, right? But look at how they have the ropes and stuff there. This is the part. Now look at that walk. It's a stride. She's not walking, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
This is
Now,
what really
now, just in that little short flat section right there, yes?
Yeah.
Drive along the streets in any American city and see how often you see anyone ever walking like that. You don't. Not when they are walking you'll see sometimes people who are obviously in a hurry, but then you can notice that this is not a natural walk. She's walking stridently without being in a particular hurry. Yes. The other thing that fascinates me is this wonderful woman here is doing this in that long skirt of hers, and I was just about to say, and never mind getting hooked in that. No, you got to work in it. It's like, and that goes down to the feet, which that's very risky. If she tramps on her skirt on a place like this, down she goes. Right?
Yes.
So that skirt is dangerous, but this is the part that Beena liked, this hopping from rock to rock here, right, Beena? You enjoy. I think this is what
Also
you
that
mentioned to me.
even all in her walk, she was not actually completely putting her weight on
Exactly.
one side. Like, okay, it's
She
always
was
on one
moving.
go. She was,
Correct.
yes,
Yeah,
and this is
yeah,
the real key of their
Right.
walk easily.
Right.
They are walking easily
Right.
because they are not actually
right,
stopping or holding on
Right.
any rock.
right.
So they are always
Right.
on move. So even the wobbly rocks are not
Right.
causing any harm
Right.
to them.
Right. Now,
Always just
when I
moving.
grew up, this was how you walked. Right? I mean, if I go and drive down the street now and they're pedestrians, that was interesting. The garbage there. That was very interesting to me. That she didn't stop to pick it up, or I don't think she dropped it. If she did, she didn't notice it, but she wasn't carrying anything to drop. Right? So that was very interesting there that it was there and she didn't pay attention to it. But I'm saying
These
this is
rocks
a
are not
purpose.
easy as she's
Right.
walking.
Right. But I want to
This
make.
take
Oh, go ahead.
half an hour
Right.
just to get out
Right.
of this.
Well, not yet. I mean, it's 6 minutes. It looks like a long time, but it's 6 minutes so far that she's been walking. Right. Now, what I'm trying to say is this is a purposeful, deliberate walk that is energy and time efficient. She's not rushing. She's not, like somebody who's in a hurry and trying to walk as fast as they can. She's not walking as fast as she can. She can walk faster, but she can also walk considerably slower. But the difference between the slow walk or that you typically see, like if I go driving on the streets now, that's what I'm going to see, people walking. They're not actually walking, they're ambling or strolling, even though they've got somewhere to go. It blows my mind how you could possibly live with that amount of slowness. It's too preposterous. It's too preposterous to me.
Look where she was walking.
Yeah. See, this is what Beena was saying on all these loose stones here, and she just strides across them. So you see what we're getting here? A little deeper pool. That's what I was trying to talk about. Yeah, but and you see how it's eddying here, right? Yeah, and look at the current. It's different. It's still fast current, but it's not shallow as the other one. Or it seems to be a little deeper. I mean, there are shallows on the right-hand side, but there's definitely a bit more depth, at least on the sides. But I don't know. It doesn't seem that different to me now that I look at it, Beena. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure why she comes here specifically, unless it's just over there. Everybody else fishes, and it's kind of fished out already, which can very well be. And the fish from here haven't moved down there yet. That could be right. Now watch, right? So now, if you don't know what's going on, you just see her and she's got a line, and it's like, girl, you need to learn to fish. Most fishermen that I know are like scratching their heads at this. Are like, seriously, what kind of primitive, ridiculous fishing is this now? Yeah. Look at that face, though. When she was walking, did you think she was this old?
No one can imagine.
All right. See, now you never saw at this point. I now saw what is important. What she has in her hand is multiple strands of line. It's like she's made it into a rope, because at a single thread, it's very hard on your hands. Remember I was commenting, Beena?
Yes.
But now you see she's actually woven that together into a thicker strand so that it makes it easy for her to do. But if you look carefully now, you see this little bag, and there it's gone now. You see, you can see the crow's nest. The crow's nest is on the other side of the bag.
Yes.
This, what we see as line, is actually not line, it's actually a rope of line. It's like multiple lines together
Yes.
to make it easy for her to draw it in. But you see how she's trawling it through the shallows here. You see? Through this pool. Well, not the shallows, I mean this eddy, right? Oh, nothing there, says Ma. Let's go elsewhere. But I wanted to say too, we saw her face up close. And she's obviously not, when she first started walking, you may think that this is a young woman, yes? So in her 20s, early 20s. She walks like that, but she's not. I mean, how old would she say? 40s? Yeah? Maybe
No,
late.
no, she might be in the early 30s or late 20s. Okay, because Iranis have that face
all right.
which gets older easily.
But she certainly walks a lot younger than she looks, is what
Oh,
I'm
yes.
trying to say.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you look at the body also, body is also that of a slightly older woman. You see again there, these pools here, the deepness. There's some serious current coming through there though. I mean, this is not a river you can go, at this point, you can't go walking through this easily. Was that the 4th time that she threw it in already? 4 or 3? I think so was the 4th time.
And the
Then-
very interesting part is their back is almost always straight.
Yeah.
They don't
No.
bend over to try
No,
to climb.
don't
or
hunch.
No.
Don't hunch, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now here you definitely have a nice deeper pool. Now look, is that's oh, it's not fish. It's a foam or something. All right, here we go. She got him. She got him. 2 nice big ones. See, now we see the now we see the magic of her fishing. Oh, wait,
Yes.
what's further though? We're still not seeing it all because the light, you don't catch it. Yeah, but when they show close, you start to see there's that crow's nest around it.
Yes.
Yeah, you see how entangled they are? It's genius.
Yes.
And as she showed the camera, now she's gonna take them out of it. Because I remember her taking it out. I don't know why she has to walk all this way to take them out.
It was bag.
Oh, right. Right. Again, she's walking over those loose stones. But every time she puts her foot down, she's feeling with that foot. Watch again when she walks across the stone. She's not just blindly putting it down. It's a very, very fast feel. And
Look.
it's in the motion, right? She peels it off. And
Look what
which
she's
she,
doing.
right. What I find fascinating is that she peels towards the head. I would have thought it's easier to peel off the tail. Because then you're going with the scales.
Yes.
It's very interesting to me. I mean, I've got to assume that over time, you see what I meant? Live into the bag. It may just be that, oh, I guess the tail gives her something to grasp onto in the beginning of it. All right. No, well, she's not really holding there, so I don't know. I really would have thought it's much easier to do it the other way, but I guess not. Anyway, it'll be interesting to experiment and test. But look how quickly she gets this out. It's a lot quicker than you would think, no? I mean, it was what,
Yes.
1-2 minutes to get it out? That's it, done.
Yes.
That's it. I'm all done now. Away I go. There's my crow's nest, and there's that line that's. Did she fish more now? No.
Yes.
It looked like she was going to fish more, unless they just cut it there, because that was an edit there.
Yes.
So maybe she did fish more, because that bag looks like it's got more than just 2 fish in it, no? Because I thought it's a long way to come for just 2 fish. If I'm judging that bag, I'm saying there's 4, maybe 6 fish in there. Yeah, what did you guess, Beena?
I guess that goes 2 or 3.
Really? You think that's that little in the bag? I know. I think it's more than 2 or 3. Could be. You see, I'm seeing 1, 2, yeah, 3. I don't know, 4. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, I mean, they cut it there, right? So now she's on her way back. So the whole thing takes half an hour. I thought they didn't show it, but we had 15 minutes now, and the thing is 32 minutes long.
Yes.
So the whole thing takes a half an hour, not an hour. Wow. All right. So I'm going to end it there. We don't have to watch her walking back now. We've seen enough, right? All right. So my spine was tingling watching her on the side of the hill. Yes, sure, yes. Okay, no concern about snakes in the rocks. Yikes. No, snakes in a situation like that. For one, there's not likely to be that many snakes because it's quite sparse of smaller animals for the snakes to feed on. You know, it's pretty dead of things in general there. And secondly, you know, if you walk around a lot in nature, Lisa's a mountain climber. She spent lots of time there. She'll tell you that, you know, they typically get out of the way when they hear you coming. It's rare that you encounter a snake that's really in your path. You know, they usually just move out the way. So, but yeah, so I don't know. It's not a big, in that type of an environment. I've certainly spent time in that. You know, the snakes would be, if you're going to go turning over the rocks, yeah, then you might find one. But they're not likely to come out and be seen, especially not in the day. Yeah. No, not a concern. Lisa, are you still here? Are you still here? Where are you, Lisa? I'm keen to hear from you. I'm keen to hear from you. Anyway, again, you see what I'm saying is a very simple. We see how simple and effective that was. And she didn't have a very big crow's nest. I imagine you could have a bigger one. And, you know, especially if you put it on a short fishing rod, and just so that you could wind it in, you know, and you use a nice, very thick, heavy duty line that goes to the floater. And from the floater, you now have that thinner line that's in the crow's nest, right? Or you have maybe the thicker strands that go to the crow's nest, right? And different crow's nests. So you could, I think you could, with a bit of engineering and modifying, make this to catch more fish at a time. Now, I don't think she needs more than getting out 2 at a time, you know, because she's not looking to feed a whole lot.
Yes.
But like in
Yes.
the story, this young woman, she has it as a big thing. She wants to pull them out 10, 20 at a time, right? She's got to feed the whole town, right, in a day, which means she has to get like, I don't know, 100 an hour. So she has to really, okay, the river that she is has a lot of fish, so that helps her, you know. But still, she has to be very industrious. So she takes them out and she flings them onto the bank, and she hires little urchins to take them to this bin that she's storage in the town. And so they're too busy to pay attention to what she's doing. So when people ask them, "Oh, how was she fishing?" The little urchins couldn't tell her. They were too busy making money, because for every fish they got a penny or whatever the thing was, right? You know, a thing. So they were just too eager. Like, you know, it's just free money. It's like so easy. So they didn't bother what she was doing. They just wanted to run the fish up and down. And the sooner they went back and forth, the better they could. They can't take too many fish. So she was strategic in that too, to keep her secret there. Anyway, again, to come back to this, right? To train
Yes.
our minds not to remember this as the thing of the fishing only, but to remember it in the abstract, which was her using did I give Norma the wrong one then? Her using the circumstance differently, right?
Hmm.
She using what she has, what we all have. This was the thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, I think I sent Norma the wrong link. Sorry. Maybe I probably sent Lisa the wrong one too, but Lisa came, so it's all good. Lisa, I just sent you that link, by the way, because it was quicker for me to type, because I already had it on my keyboard for Norma. She likes it when I send her the link. So I said, all right, I'll just send it to Lisa as well. Instead of saying, Lisa, we're live. Will you come? Are you coming? No. I'm just thinking of you, Lisa. I was just thinking of you. All right, brilliant. Will you read, please, Beena? Will you read? Will you read? Sorry, I was making that point. Yes,
Yes.
being different. Yes, different being key, and not only different, sure, but utilizing already existing. I look for the word already existing availability. Right. When you went fishing, those times that you went fishing, you had what she has available to you. You simply had to use it differently. So yes, different is key. But again, you might say, well, I need different equipment. I can't afford the different equipment. That's what I mean. It's using what we have differently. Exactly. This is the lesson from that we already had it, and what we had we would lessen, we'd actually use less of what we had. It's using it in a different way, right? But it's reimagining it, because boy, when I was a kid with fishing, if you pulled that mess that she pulled out of her bag, you'd be scoffed and scorned and bullied and laughed at, and nobody would say, hey, go fish elsewhere. We don't want no noobs fishing with you. Take that crow's nest elsewhere. You would hear that kind of a comment, right? It's like, man, you know, or you get some nonsense coming at you. Butter knives do more than spread butter. Precisely. Precisely. I mean, as a sculpting tool, they're quite fantastic. Yeah. It's that also ego is an issue in this, right? She's using when I was a kid, if you had a crow's nest, you would never admit it to anybody. You would, you'd hide it, you'd cut it loose, bury it, or whatever, right? I mean, this was just a shameful thing to have a crow's nest, that mix and mess like that, right? Yeah. All right, sorry. Let me just say to message. I'm live now, Norma. All right. So the point I'm really hammering here is that in the abstract, this is a profound deal, and even more so, it's not just to think how can I do it differently, but to think of the psychology that's needed to re-engineer, to reinvent, to say, let me look at what's kind of working, but say, what if I can radically improve it? And to assume we can, but also to get over ego. Because I think what has prevented that from being a successful fishing mechanism and learning it is because fishing culture has absolutely made a crow's nest something of shame and teasing, and so nobody ever wanted to ever acknowledge or anyone even think about it, right? You wanted nothing to do with it, so it never got into being used. So ego is a very big factor in why this is not a predominant fishing method. And certainly when I was a kid, there's no way that I could even think of throwing it into the water. I mean, it was on my own maybe. But even then, you tried so hard not to have a crow's nest, because, man, then you just felt like a failure if you got the crow's nest. So you were avoiding everything and anything to do with the crow's nest. And I never had them. I had it once or twice when I started, but after that, I was just a bit more diligent and careful. I never had them, so it never came up. Yeah, but still, I never even would have thought of it, because it would just be something that, a crow's nest means you're a horrible, terrible fisherman, and you're useless and incompetent, and you're just pathetic. That was it, right? That was pathetic, crow's nest, two went together. So it's a very important thing to say, what else is needed? What do I need in my psychology that enables me to do this in different thinking, like in this case, right? It's a willingness to re-engineer. It's a willingness to look foolish to others, right? Like I said, when she first took that stuff out, if there had been the typical regular fishermen sitting there with their lines fishing, the looks they would have given that woman would have been like really, or laughter or pointing fingers or whatever, literally, like I said, they would say, hey, go elsewhere. Don't bring your nonsense over here with us. This is for serious fishermen only. I mean, of course you could ignore them, but it just, that's how that superiority paradigm is. If you haven't experienced it, it's hard to imagine, right, Beena? But it's there. It's a big negative. So it's all of these factors is what I'm trying to say. Very important. All right. Please, Beena, if you would read.
This whole story is becoming more and more interesting.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
What actually inhibit us to not explore
Exactly.
more options.
Exactly.
are
And
clear.
when we exactly, and when we listen to Ursula, we need to be listening to Camillus in what
Mm.
Camillus is not saying and not doing. We need to be listening to the difference between Ursula and Camillus. Yes? Because how often are we not the Camillus in the story?
Oh,
Yes, I
right.
know you and sure, I don't think Lisa's here now, so I'm just going to speak to the two of you. I know that you and Sher have been Ursula in this particular example as well, right? But there's many
I
ways of
thought
being an Ursula,
Camillus.
right? No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Oh, no, no. When you,
No,
Sophie,
it is it big. Okay. Yes. It
but
is
you
like
have also in other circumstances been
yes.
Camillus. That's
Yes.
my point. That's what
Yes.
I'm trying to say. I know that you and Sher have been the Ursula of the story in a particular circumstance. But I also know that in others you've been the Camillus.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not an either or, right? We need to know both because it's situational. We need to be Ursula as appropriate and not to become a Camillus as appropriate. Now, mostly it's appropriate to be Ursula in this type of a situation, right? In life in general, like in the fishing line story. When you see that, and if you can't overcome your ego, there's many fishermen I know, even if it's a better way of fishing, there's no way they walking onto that pier and doing what she's got there. Forget about it. Their egos will not let them do that. Even if they were going to pull out, fish by the dozen there compared to everybody else, they will not do it. They won't look stupid, even if it's more successful. I've seen this many, many, many times. I've even asked people, I said, but it works better. No, but I look stupid doing it. And they don't do it. It's astonishing, but it's very common. It's very common. So there's many layers to Camillus. It's not so much that he's worried about looking stupid. On some level, yes. But on another level, he's already said, we'll come to it when it comes up, right? So there's many, 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 many nuances of psychology coming here. We'll prepare them. Go ahead, please read. And sure, you
Okay.
can come and read too if you like, but maybe she's
Please,
busy.
please share. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
again, I don't
Go
want to
ahead.
put pressure. Yeah, yeah.
No, it's not a pressure. It is just fun. That's all. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So, Ursula visibly gathered herself. The group so supportive, so open. They held nothing back and left nothing behind. The open purity of the what is the word here? Okay, earnestness, palpable. She resolved to honor that is spread of these discussions as best she could. There'd be no holding back.
All
I
right, sure.
was,
Okay.
am very successful on my word, Ursula began. Saying this without any ego or false modesty, simply sharing a fact which needed stating in the context.
You're a little soft, Beena. I
I
know if you.
was, oh, okay, sorry. I was not only successful in business, but in sports, politics. I've even written a few successful books, including a novel or two. She paused to think a bit, wanting to express her complexity as best she could. This is very, very difficult and sophisticated skill to not fall into over modesty.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm glad you picked that up here because this is something that she picked up from the new nobility, right? She says, am very successful on my world. Ursula began saying this without any ego or false modesty. Both are variations of ego. Yes.
Yes.
If you sort of apologize and, well, I don't want to brag, but actually, she just says it. Am very successful in my world. It's just a fact. It's like Michael Jordan saying, I'm a good basketball player. Well, yeah, I'm a good basketball player. There you go, right? There was a, he's still around, a German professional golfer. And for the longest time, Bernhard Langer is his name. For the longest time, he was the only professional from Germany, right? So he sort of represented Germany. And this is up until fairly recently. So a reporter once asked him, would you say you're the best golfer in Germany? He said, well, yes. We just said, yes, I am. Sorry, I didn't even say well. He said, yes, I am. It's like, well, duh, it's like a stupid question. But there was no umming and ahhing. He just said as a fact. Like, and that's an important thing. And the new nobility are like this, right? They just acknowledge. If you've got a skill, you acknowledge it. There's no bragging. There's no ego. It's just, that's the facts. When you say your facts about yourself, you aren't bragging or being egotistical. You're simply being honest. And when we understand this difference, it's profound. It's a very big deal.
Sometimes, personally, and I'm just sharing with personal observation and personal experience also, that sometimes we do say things in over modesty, false modesty, which is not false for us. This is sadly, it's a
Right,
should thing that, okay, you should not be bragging about yourself.
right,
You should not
right, right.
highlight your positive things because it is going to affect others. But and that was my idea too, that okay, this is not the thing. But what actually happens that because I fortunately I was in a situation where my friends here online, they had no idea from where I'm coming from, who I am, and
Yeah,
and so many other
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
So they were having some ideas, assumptions about me. Of
Right,
course,
right.
and they were not wrong into this, because the only available information about me was, okay, I am someone from Pakistan. Okay, I'm a girl and I'm just learning and I'm doing this. So it was from their side, it was all appropriate because the assumptions they had. And I was not sharing much because I was trying to observe the world other than me, other than mine. So I was trying to understand that, okay, what is important for for other people, for my friends, what is not, what is appropriate, what is not. It's a different culture, it's a different religion, it's a different mindset. Everything was different. So I
Yeah,
was doing that. And whenever someone was asking something, I was deliberately trying to tone it down, like, okay, I'm not going to say these things, like, okay, sometimes about my food choices, sometimes about my lifestyle, sometimes about other things. But it was giving them a wrong perception of me. And only I was responsible for that because I was not understanding. And then when I was doing the way of impeccability, when Syl says that, it's not only that okay, it is your humbleness that you are doing, but it is also a subtle ego which says that, okay, this is something important, this is something valuable, and it is going to cause other people like some uncomfortableness. So then I should hide this. That was the cueing, and that sophistication of the understanding was a worldview collapse right there. That okay, I was assuming on surface that okay, I'm doing this on purpose, and this is this, blah 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 blah. But there was a subtle ego also involved. That
yeah,
in my own understanding, those things were valuable, a bit larger than, not larger than life, but a bit uncommon. Okay, so I was the one who was cued by all these things, and I was cuing other people else. On top of that, it was giving a wrong perception. So it was also against, completely opposite to the honesty and self-honesty, but also it was completely against the impeccability.
exactly.
And that was the awareness. And it was not fun at that time when I realized that, when of course, I didn't realize by myself.
Yeah,
I just came to
yeah,
know via myself. So that was like not fun, not fun, because the most uncomfortable feeling is the things you really lovingly create from yourself, by yourself, within yourself, and then someone just come and then tell you that, okay, these are not what you are thinking. This ego hurts big time. My ego hurt really, really big time at that time. It was like, so okay. So now you're not only saying that, okay, this is not impeccable, but also you are doubting my intent. I was in a defensive mode at that time.
Oh,
I was
oh,
trying to protect. It was a desperation to protect my persona, the image I had in my own mind. It was not about others at all. It was the whole fight, the whole war was inside me with myself, my ideas about myself. I was
mm,
deliberate, I was like really aggressively trying to protect all the perspective and the perception and the personas I have created for myself.
yeah,
How dare one can come and just say that, okay, it is not honest. I know
exactly.
that I'm doing it deliberately because I want to protect my friends to get hurt or something like that. Well, who am I to think that, okay, on their behalf that they are going to hurt or they are going to be uncomfortable? It was all assumptions and it was
Exactly.
not realized. So
All
also,
assumptions, all assumptions. Exactly.
and also I was invading in my friends' boundaries, their
Exactly.
emotional, their psychological, their spiritual
Exactly.
boundaries, because I was thinking on their behalf. I was not
Presuming for
letting
them.
them think and decide.
Exactly. Presumption, which is worse than assumption.
Ex- Exactly. I was assuming that, okay, this is going to be this, so I'm going to do that. And there was everything about them, but they had no say into this. I was the
Right.
one who
Right.
was
Right.
deciding everything. I was
Right.
the one who was deciding everything on their behalf. Like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is
Very
going to hurt them, so
presumptuous.
this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I I was the one who was playing both sides of the net.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was the one.
I want to go into detail on this a little bit, but first I want to respond to Shirley real quick. She
Yes.
says, "Where's the music coming from?" I just put my music on, but I'd forgotten that I was still on the screen share. And when I did the screen share,
Ah,
when I was playing the video, I activated the direct audio, which means you hear it through the computer, not over the microphone. So when I put my music on and started playing, and Beena didn't hear it because she's on Zoom and she has Facebook muted so that we don't have the feedback going on. But it was nice music. It was actually very nice music going there. So that's why I was asking if it's loud, sure, because if it's not, then I can, if it's just in the background, I can put it back on again. Um, you know, just to have some fun music going with while we're talking here. On this point of the modesty and the false modesty, I want to come to a very important point. Yeah. Yeah. Was it disruptive? It was disruptive, then it was too loud. Yeah. Yeah. And then I can turn it much softer and then put it back on again. All right, let me try that. It's not much softer that I can make it, but still. Let me play this again. It was really cool music. Now it won't. Oh, it came to an end now. All right, I think
okay.
it's some Paul Simon.
So I need to go now. So let me just,
Oh, I want to make a point about lies.
yes, yes,
And if we consider false modesty, it's really a kind of a lying, right? In essence, right? And now we are pretending to not be what we are in order to save somebody else's feelings, etc., etc., etc. Right? So we
mhm,
are we are we are disrupting the truth. We're not out and out lying, but if you want to get it like a computer, if you put it and say, is this lying? You ask the AI, it would say yes. Is it an egregious lie? No, but it's still lying. Technically, it's still a lie, a bureaucrat, right? But if we take morality out of lying, why is it a bad idea to lie? Very simple answer. It is exceedingly energy inefficient. It's very energy
yes,
costly because you got to keep
yes,
it up, you got to balance, and lies lead to further complications because you are feeding others false information. So forget about morality. It's purely ineffective from a informational point of view, like with you and your friends, by not sharing all of your skills, right? When they needed somebody with your skills, now they couldn't call on you because they didn't think you had those skills. Yeah.
Yes.
So how is
Exactly.
this effective and efficient? No, it's terrible, right?
No. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
dumbing down the self is the same as a lie. Precisely, sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I
Okay.
see. All right.
Thank
All right.
Okay.
So this is a
I need to go and I
okay.
will come
Okay.
back.
All right. All right. We see you soon. We see you soon. We see you soon. Yeah. Now I put it so soft I can't hear it at all. There we go. I got to have music on at all times. I love having music on. It's a big deal. So it's a big deal. But like I said, normally it's only on for me, and because my mic is so fantastic with noise cancellation. Look, I'm clapping right next to the mic here, and you can't hear it. It doesn't pick up the music. It only picks up my voice. But now I'm playing it because I'm screen sharing. There's an option at the bottom of the screen share when screen that pops up that says optimize for video, share sound. When you click those, you hear it directly, which is very nice. But here's an important point though, right? If you are going to share your music, you've got to go to the source of the music and adjust the volume, not adjust the volume on your stereo. Yeah. So I don't know if it works on the phone, but on the computer. See, I've got to adjust it here because what I hear is going through the stereo, and that's a different sound. Like I can have it blasting here by me, but soft here if I really turn the stereo up, right? So just be aware you got two different sounds that play if you're going to be doing, lives and screen sharing and using this factor. So this point that I'm making about lies is to understand that there's a very logical reason for not doing it, regardless of the morality involved. It's just foolish. It's just foolish. It's poor use of energy, ridiculously poor use of energy. You're constantly putting out false information. And if you're going to want to build anything based on false information, you cannot. Right? And then if people do trust what you're saying and they do use that, then they get a false construct. So it's a horrible thing to do in the world, right? It's a horrible thing to do. So it's just not very efficient and very effective. Just silly, foolish, idiotic. No value to it whatsoever. And when you unhook from doing this and you just say what it is, like the new nobility, they're not going to pretend. It's like, well, like Ursula, she learned this from them, right? I mean, she consciously in that moment shifted to doing something she wouldn't ordinarily do. Yeah, because on her world, never mind being just accurate about it, you have to make it into more, not less. You have to leverage it. Like, yes, okay, I'm this and ever, but I'm not only successful, but I'm so wonderful that you have to follow me because then you're going to get part of my success and you're going to be on my train and you're also going to be successful and blah, blah. A lot of nonsense involved. My success did not come from having the right family. I'm self-made all the way. It did not come from getting lucky either, or even from being talented. And this is important to understand with Ursula, that she's very successful, not because of all the reasons we typically think of being successful. The right family, or getting lucky, or being talented, right? Those are mostly, well, I'm not successful. Why? Because, well, I didn't have the right family, or, well, I'm not lucky, or I'm not very talented. Unless one considers a propensity, right? An insistence, a desire, or at least an innate talent, I suppose. Propensity is kind of talent. So I suppose that's a talent. A propensity for stubborn persistence, luck. There's a very complex sentence there, but she's saying that maybe you could think of having this talent for stubborn persistence. A propensity is kind of like a talent. If you want to call that luck, all right, then I was lucky or talented, either way, right? I achieved much of my success through sheer trial and error with large doses of patience. Now she's learned capital P, patience also. In the short time that she's worked there, she's learned to capitalize it. At least for her, saying patience, she's not necessarily consciously saying it with a capital P in her mind like the new nobility would. But this is a big deal for her, patience. She really has come to learn on her world the power of patience. And you see this often with successful people inside the superiority paradigm, like her, who come to be successful not because of manipulation or bribery or corruption or scheming and plotting and all of the other nonsense that they get, right? Or marketing, as we know, famous examples, right? To just keep on pushing out the marketing that they are, and people end up believing they're advertising, but they get there through patience. But in the language of my world, I can take credit for craftiness, a strategic perspective. Both craftiness and a strategic perspective comes from the ability to do work, which requires patience, and the ability to persist through trial and error. Right? That's it. You figure out craftiness and strategic perspectives pretty much through trial and error, even if it's in your mind, thinking it through. Like if you're playing chess, you try a move and you figure out, you see how far it goes. It doesn't work. Okay, let me try a different sequence of moves, right? Trial and error, right? But it takes patience. So I'm just using chess as an example of strategy, which is trial and error, but we don't always think of it as trial and error because, well, you can't do it. I mean, yes, I suppose with the computers nowadays, you can play a game and see that doesn't work, and okay, you can play again. Right? Trial and error, though. But patience, trial and error doesn't have to be a physical thing, can be in your mind too. But in the language of my world, I can take credit for craftiness, a strategic perspective. I understand people, what makes them tick. I used that to great advantage. So she's already saying that, yes, fine, she got somewhere and she didn't have luck and talent, but what she did have was her ability to think, which is craftiness, which is being strategic. And to understand people, this is a skill we can all acquire. We simply have to make the effort. Yes? Right? What makes them tick. I use that to great advantage. She's applying her skill here that she's acquired, one we can all acquire, and she's applying craftiness and strategic perspective to it and use it to great advantage. Most of the game on my world relates to personal status. Once I figured that out, I made the effort required to achieve that status. She's saying that in order to get ahead, she didn't actually have to have real skills. She simply had to understand how to have status. It's a different game. To get ahead didn't actually require some degree, but the main element was status. And we see this in our world's politics today. It's all about perceived status, not actual ability. It's fascinating. It was not important to me in itself, in other words, status, only or simply as a means to an end. And this I see a lot of too, and it's a little kind of unfortunate that people do things like Ursula. She's very good at that game, but it wasn't important to her. She was simply trying to achieve something, right? So she was in a paradigm bubble, and this is what happens when you're in a bubble. Ursula went inward for a moment, then continued. I never really questioned the validity of my ambition or goals. I just accepted them. Ay, 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 ay. What a profound, profound sentence. How many listening to this? How many do you know in your world? How many that post in group, constantly posting, question the validity of their ambition or their goals? I do. I question it every time they make those posts, and if you don't get your post approved, you'll know that your your goal wasn't particularly valid relative to the intent of the group. Yes. In other words, they I get lots of money making posts, make $1 million, be wealthy, and all this stuff, right? I know you do, sure. I know you do. I know you do. But I get lots of people who post and they just assume that their goal of making $1 billion and all this is valid. It may be, depending on what you really want, but they don't question it. They just assume it's valid, right? Same with their ambition. Yeah. All right. So you're ambitious and you want to be, I don't know, whatever is the highest thing you can think of, you want to be a president or whatever. Do you actually want it for the job itself, or do you want it simply for the status of it? See, If you want it just for the status, you might find when you get there that being president is a hell of a lot of work and a hell of a lot of responsibility and a hell of a lot of stress. Look at Obama in that 8 years. He's a relatively young man, but you could clearly see him go gray in that time, right? It's very noticeable. Very, very, very noticeable. Right. I love this question. Sure says she questioned her why, her purpose, and yeah, etc. Short-lived. Yeah, good, sure, good. Yeah, we have to really pay attention to the validity of our ambition or goals. I'm not necessarily saying you have to change them, but make sure it is actually valid according to you, not just an assumed validity. As she says next, I just accepted them. I was pursuing the highest goals of my society. There really weren't any others that are considered valid. Now, of course, in our world, we have this, but how many people do you personally know that have become monks, for instance? Back in the day, this was a very valid option for those who wanted to pursue the spiritual path, right? Going and becoming a monk or joining the monastery was relatively common, right? Relatively common, right? I mean, that monasteries were abundant. I mean, do you even know where a monastery is nowadays? No, but back in the day, you would have known where the local monastery is, and they were all over the show, because it was a path that needed a necessity for an outlet. Now, of course, it's all within a very particular paradigm, but nonetheless, it still gave that outlet for those. And monks came in all sorts of different varieties. And back in the day, you had all sorts of flavors of monks, because over the centuries, they realized, some are into it because they really earnestly want to do it, like a Franciscan monk. Well, you have to give up money and worldly goods if you're a Franciscan. You don't own anything, right? So that sort of, communist instinct. Okay, there you go, you become a Franciscan. And you had others who were into like logic and speciality and focused and thinking and all this. Okay, those are your Jesuits and all the different orders, monastic orders, are flavored differently. So there's this huge outlet. But other than, I mean, they still exist today, obviously much reduced though. But other than that, yes, and then you have Eastern religions and all that. But where do you have this outlet today that's other than the pursuit of, I'm saying, societally approved valid ambition or goal? Back in the day, if you wanted to say, hey, you know what, my ambition is to be spiritual, a monk, devote all my time to God, that was on a par with saying, I want to be ruler of the country. Right? They had as much validity, depending on the individual. Some might even have said the religious calling was higher. It was a higher ambition than worldly ambition, right? But that's changed. That's changed because, of course, unfortunately, the mechanism for fulfilling that was compromised. And the church, unfortunately, had too much of its own power politics involved. And it's rather sad. And they really weren't any others that are considered valid, the highest goals, right? And this is a sad part in our society today. What are highest goals that are considered valid? All right, sure. All right, sure. Yeah, me too, actually. But I'll just go a little bit more. Yeah. Beena said she was coming back, but you know what? I think that I'll end here too. Might as well. It's a good time. I have to take stuff and ship, and I have a lot of things to do. So brilliant. All right. I'm thrilled that you were here. So it's always good. Lisa, you too, and Norma too. I think Norma, you was here briefly. Miss you, Norma. It's very cool. I wish you were here more. All right, so just love you all. It's too fantastic. And Beena, sorry, but I'll just see you on Zoom. All right, bye-bye, everybody. My screen sharing? No, I'm not. All right, so brilliant. All right, so I'm going to end the meeting right now, and we'll continue tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.